But first, this is going to be very interesting. In today's Times, Chief Sports Reporter Martyn Ziegler has an exclusive. It says Arsenal are on UEFA's financial fair play watch list. Let's find out exactly what that means now. With the man himself, let's say hello and good evening to Martyn. Hi, Martyn. How are you?
Yeah, good evening, guys.
Thanks so much for coming on. I'll start with the obvious question. Just tell us more about what on earth is going on here with Arsenal.
So UEFA is trying to sort of wrestle with its FFP rules in the wake of COVID, and that they're bringing in some changes next year. And one of the things they're doing is they're sort of drawing out a list of clubs who are in danger of breaching these rules and effectively like flagging up to them, look, you need to watch your spending or get some more income or whatever. And there's a list of about 20 European clubs, and my sources tell me Arsenal are among them.
How stringent, how strict now is financial fair play? I look, Chelsea have got a new owner. He comes in, he starts splashing the cash. You mentioned Arsenal. Forest as well. There's 16 players.
Yeah.
I don't even, as a football fan looking from the outside in, I just question every time I see a club spending copious amounts of money. I just wonder, how stringent these rules are nowadays.
Well, I think you're right, and that's why there's been a sort of big shift. And I think lots of people think that the old FFP rules have had their day and were sort of fairly toothless, and you might end up with a fine. A small fine or something like that, but that's been about it. I mean, if you think back to when PSG bought Neymar and Mbappe in the same window, for example, and they managed to escape any action at all. So that is why I think we're going to have this thing from 2023 where clubs it's not just how much they spend and their losses, but they're actually going to be restricted to a percentage of their revenue in what they're allowed to spend on wages and transfers. So from 2025, you're only allowed to spend 70% of your revenue on both wages and transfers.
Well, that'll make it a little bit more even playing field. So from what you've heard then, Martyn, do you think Arsenal could be in breach of the rules?
I think that sailing close to the wind, there's Swiss Ramble, who's a sort of football finance blogger. He's done some sort of fairly close analysis, but some of it's based on estimates of because the accounts for last season haven't come out yet. So he thinks they'll just about get away with it, but I think it's going to be close.
The problem I've got with it, right, is if these clubs breach these rules, they're going to get a fine, and I'm guessing they would weigh up whether or not spending £250 million in a transfer window and having a chance of winning, I don't know, the Champions League or the Premier League is worth whatever the fine. I'm guessing it's going to be quite a small fine. Let's say 5, 10, 12, 20 million pounds. And also, I can't ever see a day where UEFA, if you take Barcelona for argument's sake, that even struggle to get all these players signed up. They need to, I think, find another 17 million pounds as one other player. They can't register until they get this money on board. I just worry, or I can't believe that UEFA would water down their own brand, i.e. the Champions League, and kick out a Barcelona or kick out an Arsenal if they qualify, if they do break these rules.
No, I mean, I think you can only be under the current rules. You can only be kicked out for a second offence. So that can actually happen to any of those. I mean, it could happen to some who've been sanctioned before, but I as you say, it's very unlikely. And you're right. Qualifying for Champions League will be worth tens and tens of millions of pounds to Arsenal. So if they get a £10 million fine from UEFA, but their sort of spending means that they could get into the Champions League, then of course it's worth it. I mean, it's sort of it's a no-brainer. So I'm really intrigued about what the new rules are going to be like and whether that is actually going to have an impact and level the playing field. Or is it going to be, are clubs going to try and find ways around it?
I mean, they'll always find that loophole, won't they? They'll always find a way of getting sponsorship for their training ground or something ridiculous. I'm curious, Martyn, as a football fan like yourself, do you think football's better with financial fair play? Do you think if we've got a multi-billionaire coming in and buying up a club, and if he wants to spend £3 billion on improving that team and getting the best players in the world playing in the Premier League, even though the gap between them and the rest will be absolutely huge, do you have a problem with that?
There is always a concern about this sort of inflationary aspect of it. That, for example, Manchester City come in, the state ownership, PSG even more so, owned by Qatar, and they just pay so much that everybody else has to try to sort of ramp up their own spending, and that causes like huge financial problems, as we've seen with Barcelona. That's why Barcelona are so anti the sort of PSG, and La Liga are so angry with PSG, because they think it's sort of this inflation is sort of driving them to the wall. And Barcelona, they had 1.3 billion euros debt. It's just like incredible,
madness.
And they're selling off their TV rights for the next 25 years, and it's like selling off the family silver. I mean, it's a massive gamble for them what they're doing, and they go on yet another transfer spree. So I think that's why there needs to be some sort of financial regulation.
Okay. Martyn, always a pleasure. Thanks so much for coming on, and keep up the good work.
Okay.
Thanks, pal.
Thanks.
There you go, Martyn Ziegler, as I said, the Times chief sports reporter. Do you think, what's your view on financial fair play? Because the gulf between the big heads and the little heads is still basically what it was before financial fair play came in.
It is as well, and obviously a lot of these clubs do, as you said, do something with the training ground or renaming the stadium or something just to get more investment.
Yeah.
But I wouldn't mind seeing a time where financial fair play goes out the window. Whatever clubs...
Do you want to see that?
The only thing about it, though, is that we've seen some owners push that boat a little bit too far and clubs nearly go under. I don't want to see that.
No, but if you've got, for overtake, you've got the
like Man City.
But let's take Newcastle, right?
Yeah.
They're the richest club in the world, not just football, but the richest club in the world, right?
Just go and spend $1 billion in January.
Would you have a problem with that?
I wouldn't know. I wouldn't.
Would football fans?
Yeah, of course they would, because then, as Martyn was saying there, I understand that it would encourage their competitors to then try and overspend as well,
right.
And that's when the difficulty comes. But I wouldn't mind seeing that, like where you see like a Newcastle, Man City.
But you've got like what's his name? We're talking Everton that Chelsea are linked to.
Anthony Gordon,
right? If you've got no financial fair play, right, and Todd Bowley's come in and he's like, right, I'm going to spend loads of money, and they say 60 million Everton, and sorry, Chelsea go and Everton go no, and they go, right, 150 million, we don't care, we've got loads of money, right? Then clubs that can't compete on that financial level, like Everton, right? I know they've got rich owners, but then all of a sudden they're getting more money.
Yeah, they are, but then...
So the money's being spread around football,
no,
is it
because
not?
It's not, there wouldn't be a jump like that. There wouldn't be... Chelsea wouldn't all of a sudden go... So if they've got the right footballing men in place...
Yeah.
If Everton went, all right, 60 million, they went, no, you know what? Here's 100.
Yeah.
They're not going to do that, because that's a waste of 40 million.
I know, but if you've got... Okay, I'm exaggerating the point to prove a point, but my question is, will the money not be spread?
Yeah, still, because they still can't compete with it. Because you think about the players...
But they can't now, can they?
No, but you look at look at Leeds and Chelsea, for instance.
Yeah.
Prime example.
Yeah.
What you have to do to beat these top teams is work incredibly hard, and Leeds did that against Chelsea, who spent 60 on Sterling, was it? They've got Koulibaly as well.
Yeah.
They spent big money, but look how Leeds had to match it: work rate, effort, energy. That's what they did.
Maybe we should do this on tomorrow's show. We should have a chat about this tomorrow. I just wonder if I know Newcastle United fans have said many a time on this show as well, and I've heard it on the Sports Bar, where they say, oh no, we like the fact we're not just going crazy like Man City did when they, I think Robinho was the first player that they started spending.
I'm playing against them, yeah.
Did you really?
Yeah, we played against them. I was at Spurs. We beat them 2-1 at
and what was he like?
He was all right. I think he scored a free kick against us.
I think he did. I think he scored a free kick on his debut.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure he scored against us as well.
Yeah.
But we won 2-1.
But Newcastle fans say we don't want to do that, right? I wonder if they do. I wonder if football fans would love a billionaire to take over their club and just spend copious amounts of money on it.
Yeah, as long as it left the football club in some kind of state.
Yeah.
When these billionaires got bored.
You don't want the club going under, of course.
Yeah, you don't want to see that. But it would be interesting to see how some of these clubs did that.
Yeah.
Loads of money, buy who they want, recruitment. That'd be key though, wouldn't it? Because there's still a lot of good players around the world that you'd pay top money for, but we've seen it before. These big players come to the Premier League and completely just fold.
So, do you think, I'm just talking about stuff that's going about in my head, right? Do you think we'll ever see a day where managers are bought like players?
Well, they sort of are, aren't they?
No, but for argument's sake, right? For argument's sake, a club like, I don't know, PSG, right? Said to Man City, we want to buy Pep. How much is he worth? Like Pep, let's just say Pep had a buyout clause of £100 million, right? And they say to Pep Guardiola, because they can afford it, they can say, look, we'll treble your wages per year. And once they match that buyout clause, they can legally speak to. Do you think managers will ever
Yeah, potentially.
Be bought and sold like players.
Yeah, because I know it's similar like that anyway when it comes to, can we speak to that player? This is the compensation for that manager.
Yeah.
So you effectively are buying the manager. But I reckon there will start being sell-on values. Someone like Pep, Newcastle in 10, or not in 10 years' time because they've got Eddie Howe's doing really well. But yeah, I'm pretty sure there'll be a scenario where someone will go, you know what? Like whoever gets money, someone gets a newfound owner who's worth billions. Right, let's get the first signing. Let's go and get Pep. 50 mil.
Yeah. Be nice to see. There's lots to talk about. Maybe we'll do that on tomorrow's show. I'd like to know from football fans if they want financial fair play or they don't. I'm guessing, my guess is the smaller ones do,
Yeah,
and the bigger ones don't.
Of course.
It's going to be that simple, right?
Yeah.